duck eggs and deer sausage. Mark's over here, he's like, I'm cheesy. That's okay, we love you for it. Nothing like having a meal on the homestead that's pretty much everything that you've harvested yourself. We harvested the duck eggs from our Muscovy ducks, and this is the deer sausage from Joe's buck that she took not this season, but last season. So this is a really nice meal to have of duck eggs and venison sausage. I have never been so excited to see a trailer full of lumber in my entire life. Babe, what are we doing?
Building the garden boxes.
Building the garden boxes. You can tell he meant business because he even changed the blade.
Burning more than okay.
We were getting that nice aged scorched look, weren't we?
Yeah. Had a real nice
scent.
Smelled good.
So there's the beginning. But we don't know if we have enough screws. Are we out of screws, babe?
These might work. 2-inch.
These might work.
I like the 2.5.
How about D's? I love your you're so clever in your work area.
That wasn't me though.
That wasn't you?
No. It's been that elf on the shelf. This is our height now.
Wow, guys, this is gonna be our height. Like before we were.
So that puts us just below 20 inches.
Huh. That's kind of crazy. That's a lot taller because like, so right at 20 inches, so like our old boxes were probably like right here. So look how,
yeah, probably a little less than that.
Probably a little less than that. So that is gonna really help my back. Boy, Superman!
So, you know, the pros and cons. The pro is that less bending over. The boxes are higher.
Mm-hmm.
Con.
Filling it.
Yeah.
We have plans. I've been keeping tons of manure aside against my better judgment, specifically for these boxes, but I think we're gonna also be practicing hugelkultur. So we have lots of different logs, we have lots of different leaves and mulches and things that we'll probably put in the bottom of these to raise the soil level, and it also amends the soil. It's a slow deterioration so that it gives to your soil a lot longer than if you just had like regular topsoil in there. So there'll be lots of different chicken manure, donkey manure, goat manure, hay, leaves, all kinds of different things. We're gonna have logs in here and everything. So I think it's gonna be pretty swell. Not to mention where our old garden boxes were down in the duck pen right now, they're still mounded. So there's still a lot of amended soils there that ducks have been adding to just by walking over it and crapping all over it. So we'll be using that too to, oh man, Hercules.
Show our friends in the south that don't have to deal with this.
Yes, look.
This board is covered in ice.
Got ice all over it.
Because we had a bunch of rain the last couple of days, and then last night got below freezing.
Yep. Fantastic.
The board's not frozen solid, but
it probably feels like it's heavy enough to be though.
oh yeah. I'm putting those up on top.
Good. Well, we're making a good run at 2022, getting some of this stuff done already though. Aren't you happy about that? Get some of your to-do list.
This is a must-do before spring.
Yeah.
Because we jumped into that project.
A lot faster because... Why did we jump into that project so fast? Was it because somebody bought 10 ducks with nowhere to put them? I don't know who would have done that.
The ducks were fine. It's then we
The
decided to redo our garden
yeah.
after the ducks.
Yeah,
too.
This is true.
So they got ducks. Changed our plans for the gardens.
Mm-hmm.
But we really wanted to anyways. Our garden beds were getting rough.
Yeah, they were due to be replaced anyways.
We got a lot of comments that it helps a ton to have taller boxes, and now I'm already seeing why, seeing how tall that is.
Yeah, it'll make a big difference even though it's a couple inches more.
Long term, it's a better.
Because we ain't getting any younger, are we, babe?
It was to pull weeds while also
hurting your back.
Yeah.
So the size of our boxes that we're shooting to have are going to be 3x6s. They might be a little bit smaller boxes, like around the perimeter against like the duck fence or the exterior fence that kind of breaks up our front yard from our raised garden beds. But the reason we went to 3x6s, my original big beds were 4x6s, and I was having to step in to actually weed or get to different fruits or vegetables. And I found that I was compacting the soils there. So whatever was planted nearby where I stepped was suffering because that soil wasn't as aerated as the rest. So at this length, we think it'll be better because then I won't have to step all the way into the box. And that was even if I had access to all sides, I was still needing to step in. So we're going to be doing 3x6s, and there will be a full tutorial on how to do all of these with measurements and everything that you'll need. So stay tuned for that video. Mark's been making some leadway. Oh boy.
Oh, this is called multitasking.
You're on a toilet. Why are you on a toilet?
Getting 2 jobs done at once.
Ew. Disgusting.
So that toilet is an old toilet that we replaced, and we will be breaking the ceramic pieces down and using it as fill.
Yep, down in the bottoms of the big stuff.
Again, these boxes are going to need a lot more dirt because we're basically doubling the height.
Mm-hmm.
So, as Ashley said, hugelkultur helps you not only reusing things, but just the actual volume you have to have.
Yeah, it helps with the volume, but it also helps with drainage as well, because some different manures and compost can actually hold moisture, and some plants just don't like to have wet feet. They like drier feet. So Mark is giving a great visual. So these boards right here that he's got his hand on, that's how tall our old beds were. Then behind it, that's how tall our new beds will be. So I mean, we're doubling the height. That's amazing.
Yeah, our backs will thank us.
If you're anything like me, I really recommend that you have a husband like Mark, because he knows that I have to have visual reference to understand how much more I'm getting out of a situation. Like, I just don't think it up in my head. Like, he knows the measurements in his head. But for me, that's such a big help to actually have a visual to see how much more height we're getting out of these boxes and how much less my back is gonna hurt when I'm pulling weeds. Wow. It is feeling pretty real. Oh, Mark has outdone himself. Look at that. That is a big box, babe. Man. So I think for these, we talked about 7, maybe 8 of them total for this year, just so that we don't overdo it.
Well, 7 to this size. We're going to do it before the ones are in the tender.
Yeah. Well, it depends. I'm OCD when it comes to these things, so however many gets me the full set of rows going down.
We have a ton of space to do.
Yeah, we have a lot of space. So the main purpose of us getting a couple of these built is so we can see how many we're going to need overall to kind of fill that middle space, while leaving a comfortable amount of room to do the perimeter boxes. But this is our 3x6 raised garden bed.
Ashley has an open canvas on the layout.
I do, which is kind of nice. I mean, that's the box. It's pretty awesome. And then I come out and just like that, he's got more done, guys. So he's got actually like the 2 boxes. So you can see we've got one right here and then we've got one right there. I'm floored. I cannot believe this. It's one of those projects that we've known we need to get moving on because spring's going to be here before we know it. And then Mark went and got all of the lumber the other day. Never been so happy to see a trailer full of lumber hit our yard in my entire life. And then now I've already got 2 of the garden boxes done. I am so ecstatic, but now that means that I have work that I need to complete in order to start spacing and setting up our new raised garden bed. So now I've got all of these garden beds behind me that kind of need to be moved so that when we're done with a few garden beds in the garage, we can bring them around with the tractor, and we'll obviously start setting them up here first, like where the exterior is and it meets the duck pen. I actually think I'm going to leave my 2-footers just so that we can get an idea, because that's the size that I want the exterior boxes to be. So I'm going to go ahead and leave these short ones just so I can get kind of a common idea as to what this setup is going to look like. So I'll be moving mostly the big ones like this. Ugh. And we're hoping to repurpose a lot of the wood, mostly the wood on the top, because the wood that's on the bottom is just suffered a little bit. And this is actually the reason why we've chosen to use such a bigger, sturdier type of raised garden bed, even though I'm hoping we never move these again, because let me tell you, these garden boxes are really, really heavy. They're very hard to lift and to maneuver. But we like that because that means they're big, they're sturdy, they'll stay in place. Whereas these are a lighter deck board. And you can tell it's probably only a 1x6 deck board. And it just didn't take the wear and tear as well. Not to mention it wasn't as sturdy. Because then I'm hoping that if we move these to where they should be, it's going to give me a better idea on spacing. And in order to know how many boxes we're going to need for this year's growing season, I really need to be able to visualize, because that's just how I am. And it's going to help us to see what one row tucked in here looks like, and then we can figure out how many rows like that we want moving back towards the buck pen. It's also going to help us narrow down the supplies that we need, because especially with inflation and the way that a lot of construction materials are right now, we don't really want to have to buy more than is needed. So by getting the first row done, we're going to be able to really hone in on the cost of this entire build, and we'll know exactly how many boxes need to be built by what time, and to know the spacing around those boxes so that I can move comfortably between boxes during gardening season, and to get wheelbarrows and wagons and everything else up and down these different aisles. So the quicker I get these set up, the quicker we can actually get the project finished. And I know Mark and I are already wanting to get it finished. He's already got the 2 boxes built, but I'm kind of afraid to see how many more we're gonna need. I think he's pretty afraid too, but we'll have to just wait and see. He's got enough wood right now for 7 boxes. I think he'll need to up that another 2. I think we'll need 9 boxes total for the season of that size. I could probably get by with using some of these boxes if I needed to, if we needed to kind of put a little bit of a break on this, but we'll have to wait and see. So you guys can see I've gotten everything moved. Now right here where the duck pen entrance is, we have this beautiful lattice structure that my husband made for me for Mother's Day about 5 or 6 years ago. It needs a little TLC, but I would love to take that and put it right here as my entrance into the quack den, which is what we're going to call our duck pen, is the quack den. So we're going to be pulling that up. I also have 2 100-gallon water tanks from Rubbermaid that'll go on each side. They're very, very deep. I don't have horses anymore. I have smaller miniature animals that use the smaller troughs. So right now they're just out there being used as a playground, which is totally fine for my goats, but they could serve a lot more purpose out here. And I plan to do different types of playgrounds for my goats in the future. Just don't tell Mark. It's another project for maybe next year. Look at that wide open space behind me. I cannot wait to see what it looks like. I'm betting that we're gonna get 3 of the large garden beds across. So we're saying, I told him it needs to be either 9 or 12 because I can't have uneven rows, but he made a good point. We're actually going to be doing some more work down here in the duck pen. Their duck house will not be there by the end of the year, I hope. Oh my goodness, please. Please God, don't let it still be there. Let us have made some progress, but we're actually going to be doing a lot down here. We want to put our duck house up on a platform so that the ducks have access to the area underneath. It provides shelter from aerial predators, which we have a lot of, and they will not leave us alone no matter what we do. That's why only our animals are allowed to free range while we are out here with them. So we'll be making another supply run for that. So Mark said we have to really take into account how much weight is going to be on that trailer, how much we're going to be getting at one time, because he is the brains of this outfit. I am just the motivational push towards the finish line. Like, please get it done and get it done now. My husband is fantastic. Guys, I am so very blessed to have a spouse that endeavors to have this lifestyle with me willingly, enjoys it, makes every project enjoyable, makes all of the hardest parts of my life enjoyable. Seriously, Mark, thanks, bud. You make it all worth it. Love you to death. But we've got a lot going on out here. There'll be rotational grazing for our ducks. Guys, this honestly, this area, when all is said and done, is going to be so different. It's going to look so incredibly different. And I can't wait for you guys to follow us with that and to see this area come to life, just like I get to watch it come to life. What day is it?
Box moving day.
Box moving day. Got the tractor queued up.